Out of all the spaghettis out there in the world, this one is probably the best. So in this video, we're gonna make fancy Filipino spaghetti that has sweet and savory and fruity flavors using banana ketchup and hot dogs. You heard that right. Some of you may be thinking, what? But think about all the times you had pad thai, which is a sweet and savory noodle dish. But with Filipino spaghetti, you're actually having more American ingredients. I won't get too deep into the history of it, but it has a lot to do with World War II and the American occupation in the Philippines. So the recipe I'm sharing with you today is fancy because we're going to be using top shelf and premium organic ingredients. And the reason is I want to elevate Filipino food because it's me and I want us to go beyond the prepackaged sauces and mixes that we're really used to in the mainstream of Filipino food. So if you're ready for this sweet and savory magic, get your aprons on and let's get cooking. So the two main components for this dish are the pasta and the sauce. Feel free to use fresh pasta, but with this recipe you're simply using packaged pasta. And I recommend using the highest quality you can find at your local market, most likely imported from Italia. And super key to the sauce in this recipe is using banana ketchup, which adds a fruity and sweet element to this dish. In this video, we won't go over making the banana ketchup because I recently just made a video on that, linked above and in the description. And as you can see here, we have organic premium ingredients. This isn't absolutely necessary to make this recipe delicious, but it's another way to make this nostalgic comfort food less junky, if you know what I mean. Another big tip in general is to never buy pre-grated cheese. Why? Because it'll have less cheesy flavor because more surface area is exposed to the air. The pro tip is to simply grate your own cheese for maximum flavor. Let's start with the sauce. So grab a large sauté pan and heat that on medium-high with 2 tablespoons or 28 grams of olive oil. Once it's hot, add in 1 medium red onion, finely diced, and cook until softened. Stir in 6 cloves of garlic, finely minced, and cook until fragrant, about 30 seconds. Add 1 pound or 454 grams of grass-fed ground beef and break up the clumps with a wooden spoon. A trick I like to do is using a masher to break up the meat clumps and flatten it throughout the pan. Cook until brown and cooked through for about 5 minutes. Stir in 5 premium hot dogs cut into 1/4 inch slices, 1 cup or 235 grams of banana ketchup, 2 cups or 450 grams of organic tomato sauce, and 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of organic maple syrup, and bring it to a boil. Reduce the sauce to a simmer and let it cook, stirring occasionally until slightly thickened for about 15 minutes. Remove from the heat and season with salt and pepper to taste. And voila, your sauce is now done. How easy was that? Before we jump into our pasta, reserve about a cup of the sauce on one side that we'll use to serve on top of the spaghetti, for those who like it extra saucy. Set the sauce aside and now you can jump into the pasta. Next, season a pot of water, salty like the ocean, and bring it to a boil. If you didn't know this trick already, put a lid on the pot and the water will boil a lot faster. You're welcome. Cook the pasta to al dente, which is generally about 30 seconds before the recommended time on the box instructions. But the for sure way is to test the noodle yourself to see if it's tender, but firm and chewy. Instead of draining the noodles, I recommend scooping the noodles out with tongs to let the noodles drain lightly, and so we can get some of that starchy water into our sauce to help it thicken. Mix everything together and make sure all the noodles are coated beautifully in the sauce. And now you're ready to serve. Wind up a nice and big portion of pasta and place it on a plate or shallow bowl. Add some of that additional sauce right on top and drizzle the pasta with some of that premium organic grated cheddar cheese. None of that pre-shredded stuff. And there you go. Your fancy Filipino spaghetti is ready to be devoured. So it's time to do a taste test and I can't wait to dive into this fancy Filipino spaghetti. So the way I like to eat it is with a little bit of everything. So that is some of the spaghetti sauce with the noodles, a bite of the hot dog, and some cheese. Bon appetit. Oh shoot. So it's sweet, savory, fruity, and the banana from the banana ketchup takes it to a whole different level, and the noodles are nice and al dente. So this hits in a different way that Italian spaghetti doesn't because of the fruitiness from the banana and the saltiness from the hot dog. But these hot dogs are super premium, grass-fed, organic. So I'm in the clear, right? This dish is so nostalgic for me, and honestly, Jollibee has nothing on this homemade version. Trust me, you gotta try it. You won't be disappointed. With all that said, if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please leave a like and subscribe. Check out my video here where I teach you how to make one of the best rated egg dishes in the world and how to make your own homemade banana ketchup. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.